still got somebody that don't mind telling the world that, amen, he's coming back. He left here a long time ago. Did what he said he was going to do. Amen. Went on back home and said he's coming back.
Yeah.
It's up to us who have been regenerated and born by the Spirit of God to make up our minds whose side we want to be on. And he give us that choice by making us free will people. Amen. And we thank the Lord for this young man that's coming to us. He came recently to give his heart, his mind, his spirit, and his soul. So that world know that Jesus is still legal. And how he do it within himself. And every one of us who have come to that knowledge and realize that we can't do nothing of ourselves, is through him we live, move, and have our being. All that help come from him. All give him praises and give him glory. Amen? Amen. So we are happy to have that young man here today. Amen. To come and express his feelings and dealing with the Lord to you. Amen. To help us understand, amen, that one day we're going to die. Amen. We all. Amen. But we have a place that we can go, and that is the home of Jesus. Amen. That person is none other than the brother minister. Darby, which is one who will come and express his feelings to us in the Holy Spirit of others. Amen. This time we ask you to receive you. I need thee. Oh, I need thee.
Come on, preacher.
I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to. I thought this was a Baptist church. Let's try that again. I need thee. Come on, church. Oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we come once again in this appointed place, at this appointed time. Come and stand behind this consecrated altar, God, to proclaim your word. I pray, God, now as I decrease, that you will increase. You will speak through these lips of clay. Use me as an instrument, oh God, to speak to your people. I'll be careful to give you the praise. Give you the glory and the honor. In the Son, Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. Amen. Good morning, greater peace. Good morning. Isn't it a good morning? Yes. I tell you what, I'm going to have to get some help here this morning. Amen. I want you to know that I'm eternally grateful today to be here. I thank Pastor Boland for giving me this opportunity to stand before you. And I thank my God for waking me up this morning. Amen. I've got something to shout about. I don't know about you, amen, but I've got something to shout about. Thank God for my wife who's here this morning. My wife is as of last week cancer-free.
Amen. Praise his name. His holy name.
Praise God for her. Man. We've been married for 40 years, amen. And when this little storm came in our life about a month ago, we didn't know what was going to happen. Well, we knew what was going to happen. We just didn't know how fast it was going to happen. I thank God for my wife. And I thank God for you. Give the praises to God again to these fellow proclaimers of the gospel, Minister Brother, Minister Stephens, and Minister Jackson. We thank you for your support this morning. I want to take you to the gospel read by the gospel writer Mark today. Mark chapter 4. Please open your Bibles with me. Mark chapter 4, beginning at verse 35. Mark chapter 4, beginning at 35. I know y'all sitting out there wondering if I can preach. I'm standing up here wondering if y'all can pray.
Mark chapter 4, looking at verse 35, we find these words that are written. That day, when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat, so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." God bless the word of God for the people of God. I want to preach this morning from this home. Don't waste your storms. Don't waste your storm. Turn down your road. Just tell somebody, don't waste your storms. Amen. Thank you, ushers. You may be seated. Preacher, what do you mean when you say don't waste your storms? I want you to know today that we waste our storms when we don't let God work in them to bring about our good and his purpose. God can easily stop any storm from ever happening in our lives. If he can stop a storm as it happens, surely he can just as easily stop it before it happens. Y'all gonna pray with me today? Yes, sir. In Matthew's account, it says that without warning, a furious storm came up on the lake. When we hear the words "without warning," we understand that to mean that nobody saw it coming. But God is omniscient. He is all-knowing. So without warning does not apply to God. The omniscience of God is the principle that God encompasses all knowledge of the universe, past, present, and future. He sees everything coming. Nothing catches our God by surprise.
Amen.
Therefore, Jesus set up his disciples in this particular passage. It was his idea to get into the boat and cross over to the other side. I can imagine the Allstate insurance agency, once they found this boat, when they put a claim on the boat, they said this cause of damage was an act of God. Anybody ever had that in your insurance policy? They don't want to pay you. They said it was an act of God. Amen. They're not subject to an act of God because nobody knows how God is going to operate. Amen. So God permitted this storm to happen, church. And when God permits something to happen, he permits it for a reason. I want you to know today, first of all, I want to introduce you to a very unique principle. It's called the storm syndrome. Say that with me, storm syndrome. Some may ask, what is the storm syndrome, preacher? It is the fact that we as children of God constantly live in a storm cycle.
Right. That's
You see,
right.
we're always plagued by storms, Christians. Number one, we're either headed in a storm.
Yep.
Number two, we're in the middle of a storm. Or number three, we're headed out of a storm.
Right.
Where are you headed today? I want you to notice two things from our text today that shows us how we can easily waste our storms. Number one, we will waste our storms if we don't see them as opportunities to test our faith.
Amen.
Notice what Jesus said to the disciples after the storm was over. The first thing he says after things return to normal, Jesus says to the disciples, "Why are you so afraid?" He says, "Do you still have no faith?" So the storm was set up by Jesus as an opportunity to test the faith of the disciples. Well, if you're a school teacher today, you really know that the disciples badly failed the test. They got an F. How did they fail the test of faith? Their faith was sunk by their fear. Too often, amen, we find ourselves within a situation, in a storm, and our faith starts to dwindle on us, amen?
Yeah.
This begs the question, if it's ever wrong to be afraid of something. And after all, there are lots of times when it is completely natural to be afraid. My brothers and sisters, just a few weeks ago, when my wife found out that she had cancer, we were in a storm. Y'all gonna pray with me today? See, I can shout right there all by myself. But this God that we serve,
This
I
God.
said this God that we
This
serve,
God. That
He's
we
a mighty, mighty, awesome God.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize this morning, but He touched you this morning with a finger of love. Your eyes were open to see this brand new day.
Won't he do it? Won't he
It
do
was
it?
not your alarm clock that woke you up this morning. I'm going to say that. Because if it was your alarm clock, you should have thrown it out in the cemetery and saw how many people got up today. I wish I could take my time to preach. This begs another question. Are there areas in your life that Jesus says, yes, in these certain areas it is okay for us to be afraid? It's okay for Jesus. He said for us to be afraid of dying. A lot of us fear dying. Why do you fear dying, man? The Bible says for me to live is Christ and to die is gain. Luke records in his gospel that after the storm, Jesus also said to his disciples, where's your faith? So storms also show what our faith is really in. I stopped by this morning, ready to ask you, is our faith really in God? Or is our faith really in something else?
All right, all right.
There is a way to tell if your faith really is in God. When our faith is really in God, then we can do the same thing that Jesus was doing. Did Jesus not say that if we had faith in Him, we can do the same things we see Him doing? What was Jesus doing as the storm was raging? He was sleeping on a pillow. What kind of picture? I said, what kind of picture was Jesus trying to communicate to His disciples? This is the picture of completeness of faith in God. Sleeping on a pillow. I don't know about you, but if I was in the boat, I would try to use that pillow as a floating device. We can also tell when our faith is not in God. Same answer. We will do whatever our faith is doing. And if you read the text, you will discover that the disciples never answered Jesus' question. Have y'all ever noticed that? They never answered this question, where is your faith? Have you ever answered the question? When you've been up against something that was too hard for you, have you ever answered the question that God would ask you, my sister, my brother, where is your faith? Where was the object of the disciples' faith? The object of the disciples' faith was in the boat. Just like you came in here this morning. When you sit down in these pews, you didn't walk around the pew to see if it was going to hold you, did you? You had complete faith in the fact that when you sat down, that pew was going to hold you. I wish I could preach this morning. You and I cannot have our faith in anything other than God.
That's right.
On Christ, the solid rock I stand.
Yeah.
All on the ground is sinking sand. I forgot to tell y'all before I started preaching that I'm a short preacher, so I preach sermonettes.
All right, brother, we got that. And if they didn't get it, they're
I'm
getting on the
almost
way home.
Y'all gonna be home in a little bit. Amen. I'm short, I preach sermonettes. Amen. All I'm gonna do today is hit it and quit it. The disciples wasted their storm. They did not see it as an opportunity to have their faith tested. But sometime later, they must have learned the lesson, because James wrote in James 1:3, consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. In other words, all I came by to tell you today, great peace, is don't waste our storms. Let's see them as opportunities to test our faith. And if we do see that our faith is in something else other than God, then do the right thing. We need to put our faith back in God. Number two, second reason why you shouldn't waste your faith. We will waste our storms if we don't see them as opportunities to help us know Jesus better.
Yeah.
Satan and God's design in your storms are not the same. Satan designs to destroy your love for Christ, but God designs to deepen your love for Christ. How does Satan use our storms to destroy our love for Christ? Satan uses our storms to convince us that Christ does not care about us. Listen to what the disciples say in this text. The disciples woke him up and said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Satan had used the storm to convince the disciples that Jesus did not care if they drowned or not. Satan even produced proof. He showed them Jesus sleeping on a pillow. He was trying to destroy their love for Jesus.
Yeah.
You can't love Jesus if you believe he doesn't care for you.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. I said you can't love Jesus if you believe he doesn't care about you. You can't love Jesus if you can't trust him. Satan pulls the same attitude on us. He lies to us about Jesus. He tells us that if Jesus really cared about us, why hasn't he rescued us from the storm yet? I don't know who I'm talking to today, but somebody here today are in a storm. Somebody came here this morning, you're in a storm. I don't know what it is that you're playing with, but I want you to know today is keep your hand in the master's hand. Amen. He's never lost a case, amen. He's a doctor in a sick room. He's a lawyer in a courtroom. If you hold to his unchanging hand. I'm not telling you something I heard. I'm telling you something I know today. I saw him working through my wife just a few weeks ago. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Satan convinces us that Jesus is sleeping on the job. He does all of this to us because he knows it works. He has successfully destroyed many people's love for Jesus. Because in some situations, it does appear that God doesn't care, but God uses the very same storm in order to deepen our love for Christ. How deep does God want our love for Jesus to go? God wants us to take us to a place where no matter how bad things are going on around us, within us, we find ourselves completely trusting Jesus.
Yes, sir.
How many of you today trust him?
I know.
I said, how many of you today trust Jesus? That's why we should pray more during storms than less. Many times when we get in a storm, we want to stop praying, we want to stop coming to church. That's the time when you really need to call on him. Maybe you're here today and you're in a storm. I don't know. Use this time to strengthen your faith. Use this time to love Jesus more.
Yes, sir.
Yes, God allows storms to come. He allows us to go through storms. Some of the storms are self-generated.
All right.
Generated in others to get us to the place where he wants us to be.
Yes, sir.
Not all the storms that we face are caused by Satan.
That's right. That's right.
A lot of the storms that we face are caused by ourselves. We generate our own storms, amen.
Right.
Let me be the first to admit that God may have to break you in order to build you.
All right.
God may have to make you cry in order to allow you to smile. I'm almost finished. God may have to take your job in order to grab your attention. God may have to let the doctor diagnose you in order to heal you. God may have to let your enemies rage in order to discover peace in him.
Right.
God may have to slump you down in order to pick you up. God may have to peel away your creative confidence in order to get you to trust in him. And as I close this morning, church, I'm a Baptist preacher. Did I say that 3 times yet? I'm going to the seat in a minute. As I close this morning, I'm reminded of the story of a little girl who was shooting marbles on the deck of a ship. And a voice on the intercom said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we need everyone to go to your rooms and brace yourself because we're in a storm." Everyone was running, picking up their containers, trying to prepare for the storm. They were locking the doors and putting on their life jackets. But this little girl remained on the deck shooting marbles. Someone asked her, young lady, didn't you hear them say that we're in a storm? She said, yes, I heard it. But she continued to shoot marbles.
Yes, sir.
They then asked, aren't you going to get somewhere and protect yourself? She said, no. She kept shooting marbles. And a man came back one last time. And he said, baby, why aren't you trying to hide yourself? The little girl said, because my daddy is the captain of the ship. My daddy knows that I'm on board. My daddy not going to let anything happen to his child.
Yes, sir.
And I have the same spirit today, church, that the little girl had.
Yeah.
If you know who you are and who you are, then you know that your daddy is on board. Anybody here today know that your daddy is on board? Your daddy will not let anything happen to your child. Even in the midst of a storm, in the midst of cancer, in the midst of sickness, in the midst of a divorce, in the midst of children being locked up or strung out on drugs, all I stop by here today to tell you to put your trust in God, who can deliver you through any situation. I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. I'm so glad that whatever we're going through, God will not leave us by ourselves. He is able to bring us through. Whatever we're dealing with, finances, it doesn't matter. You got hate for people on your job, it doesn't matter. What is that guarantee? Well, my guarantee is that weeping may endure for a night, but joy, it comes in the morning. The answer to this is Calvary.
Yes, sir.
He came down through 42 generations. Took him to the cross, amen. And they hung him on the cross.
Yes, sir.
Stretched his hands wide. They put nails in his hands and riveted his feet.
I know.
They pierced him in the side. My Savior, he died.
Yes, sir.
After he died, they thought he was in a storm. But they put him in a tomb. It was the borrowed tomb of Joseph of Arimathea.
Yes, sir.
He stayed in the grave for 3 days.
Yes, sir.
But I stopped by to tell you, Greater Peace, it was early. I said it was early. On the third day morning.
Yes, sir.
He got up with all power in his hands. Anybody know about that power today? All power in his hands. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me I'm his own. I don't know what he's done for you, but I can tell you what he did for me, amen. Not only did my wife go through cancer, but it was in 2003. I was stricken with prostate cancer. Look at me today. 65 years old, and I still got Jesus on board. Thank you, Lord, for your amazing grace. Thank you, Father, for saving a wretch like me. I don't know about you, but I can't live without it. Thank you for being with me in the storm. I hope we encourage somebody's heart today.
Amen.
Remember what kind of storm it is today. Remember the storm syndrome. You're either going in a storm, you're in the middle of a storm, you're coming out of a storm. You're always going to be plagued by storms. But I want you to know that you can make it, amen? I want you to know that you can make it. God bless you today. God keep you as I pray, amen.
God bless you, brother.
The sermon from the short preacher.
God bless you, brother.